This video is a call out post because at this point, I feel like some of y'all have just lost your minds. If you're a celebrity, there are obviously going to have to be special sacrifices that you make that maybe other people don't have to. Or maybe you find yourself with less freedom to share thoughts freely with publicists and specially chosen interview questions and all of that. The point is, as a celebrity, there are some things that you sort of just have to accept because that's just kind of what you get for having one of the most lucrative jobs in the world. But there is one thing that you absolutely do not have to give up just because you happen to be one of the most famous people around, and that is safety. So the fact that we have these stans or fans or anti-fans or whatever you want to call them out here throwing things at artists on stage, often hitting them, it really shows a lack of understanding here. Because just because your fave is super popular doesn't mean they're not still entitled to basic human safety, aka not having things thrown at them. So today we have a lot of clips to look at, a lot of reactions from the artists in question, because this has really been turning into a trend lately. I've wanted to talk about it for a while. I was kind of off and on, but it just keeps happening. It literally happened as recently as a few days ago. So now is the time. However, before I get into the call out, I would actually like to do the opposite of a call out post and say thank you. It did not escape my notice that this channel has passed 100,000 subscribers. I won't sit here and do the YouTube-y thing with you where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I got this far. I never expected this. Obviously, you know, I knew people were gonna watch the videos, but I didn't think it would happen in literally 3 uploads. So I haven't even promoted this channel in a main channel video yet. So right now it's kind of like our little secret. And of course I am very grateful. I feel very free to just sort of speak on this channel. I've tried similar things in the past, but I have this part of me that always wants to make everything super polished all the time, or I can't believe in it anymore. And thankfully I've been working really hard over, I guess, forever to tone that down, and I feel like this channel is a really happy medium. I guess what I'm saying is I finally feel free to talk. Thank you for watching. And you have all felt very free to comment. There have been like a bunch of comments on the videos we've had so far, so I would say these 3 videos have been a pretty good test run, and I'm just gonna keep going. No schedule, no promises. It's just, do I feel like posting? I guess you'll find out. And today, I very much felt like posting. So let's go ahead and look at some of this nonsense. So the first thing I kind of want to highlight is that even though this has recently ramped up in intensity over the past couple months and it has become a trend of sorts, this isn't really like a new thing. Like here is Rihanna 10 whole years ago telling her fans to stop throwing things at her on stage.
Don't throw any shit up here. I'm leaving. No shit up here. I love your gifts. Just make sure they don't, you know, knock one of my people out.
I like this clip because even though it's just a few seconds long, it embodies pretty much everything I'm going to go over today. So notice that the person who threw something at her wasn't like a heckler. This wasn't just someone who hated Rihanna, so they showed up to throw a tomato at her. In a lot of these cases, these are actual fans of the person performing who are doing this for reasons I can't even wrap my head around. And notice that it made Rihanna very uncomfortable. Like, as you can see, she doesn't actually get hit with it, but that doesn't make it any less disturbing to have something thrown at you by a stranger when you can't really see people very well because of the lights anyway. Again, just to really highlight that this isn't something new, Harry Styles is an artist who has, I guess, just a history of people throwing things at him or to him, and it's like, I definitely recognize that not all of this is coming from a place of malice, you know what I mean? Especially when some artists can seem to be encouraging it. But part of the reason that's just so unacceptable is because you might hit them. It's like, I don't really know how to justify it. My personal opinion on throwing things up on stage is it's a no, always, not okay. Because, and here's my reasoning, you can't really safely throw something at somebody. You can't do it in a way that is 100% safe, where there is 0 chance of you hitting them. And also, an artist on stage is not really consenting to having things thrown at them. They're not standing there with open arms, sort of in on the joke, if you will. So I know in fans' minds, it's kind of like, I'm not really throwing something at Harry. I love Harry. I'm throwing this to him. But he's on stage, and you're throwing this on stage. You're throwing it at him. I really don't know how else to put it. Now, that's just my stance. If you have sort of a different opinion, definitely let me know. So that's like a sampler, if you will. This is a tale as old as time, but not as cool as Beauty and the Beast. But where I started sort of keeping track of this as like a developing and ongoing story is actually just a couple months ago, July, August, September. 3 months ago. Why does time pass so quickly? Anyways, BB Rexa got hit in the head by a phone. Now, obviously, like, if you're throwing flowers or some sort of garment up on stage, something soft at the very least, you might inconvenience the artist by hitting them, which is still very wrong. But to throw something as hard and heavy as a phone, especially like modern phones, have y'all noticed that they are turning into bricks slowly but surely? I feel like we spent so much, now this is just a rant about phones, but give me a second because I've had this thought for a long time. We spend so much time sort of condensing phones and making them as tiny as possible. And slowly but surely, we are determined to unfold and expand and just blow them back up into the size of television. But anyways, jokes aside, why would you throw this at somebody? And the guy who threw this at her is a total loser, by the way. He said after the fact he did it because he thought it would be funny. But seeing as BB Rexa wound up with bruises, what looks like a black eye, and bandages, I'm pretty sure that's the opposite of funny. So really don't know what was going on. Now, this in and of itself is an awful incident, and I felt terrible for BB when I heard that this happened. So imagine my surprise when literally days later, Ava Max gets slapped on stage. So what happens in this scenario is some guy just rushed up on stage, and I believe as they were pulling him away, he like reached for her and, now I'm quoting Ava, slapped her so hard that he scratched the inside of her eye. Now, in both of these cases, because what happened was just so violent that I'm not even going to show it, there were repercussions for this, right? Like the guy who threw the phone at BB Rexa, I believe, was arrested and he got charged with assault as well, according to this Variety article. And Ava said in her tweet that the guy who rushed her was never coming to a show again. So obviously there was a ban there. Very well-deserved ban, might I add. But after this, it just became like throwing things at artists extravaganza. Like the amount of stories that just started popping up after this was insane. And this is my personal opinion, I feel like there is a certain level of fan or stan or whatever you want to call them that sort of conflates any sort of recognition from their idol as a good thing. So even if you are sort of disliked by the person you like, that's still like a mention. That's still a notice. That's a reward, basically. And so what I feel like happened here is like the most extreme people in these fan bases started realizing, oh snap, I can just throw things at an artist and people are going to recognize me specifically out of all these other fans. And that's exactly what started happening. Somebody threw a phone at Drake, hitting him on stage. And like, if Drake of all artists is not immune from this, clearly there's a problem. I will say though, somebody did throw this book at him, and low-key, that was one of the best catches I've ever seen. I am not a Drake supporter by any means, but that was smooth. Look at that. But that's not the point of this video. I am not encouraging it. Do not throw things at Drake just because he's good at not reacting. And like, speaking of reactions, artists have different ways of dealing with this. So for example, Kane Brown, this was actually before these incidents started ramping up, but he got hit in the crotch area with a boot at one of his concerts. Now, I'm going to be honest, this part's kind of funny. It says, as he sang, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, he got hit with the boot, and dang, dude. But even though this hurt him, he actually signed the boot and tossed it back. So definitely not what I would have done. Another artist who reacted very nonchalantly, and this was during this Throw Things at Artist Mania, which is still happening, was Pink, when someone decided to throw their mother's ashes at her. Like, she was very calm, I guess, even though, in my opinion, she still looked pretty shaken, because imagine someone throwing their mother's ashes at you. I swear, I'm trying so hard to like put myself in the headspace of the people doing this, but it's not working. But just because some artists were sort of playing it cool or maybe not reacting in extreme ways, a lot of people were speaking out about this. So Kelsey Ballerini, who is a country star, I believe, she got hit in the eye with a bracelet during one of her concerts, and she said, don't throw things. And she posted this statement on her Instagram story, which I actually think is very well written. So she said, hi, I'm fine. Someone threw a bracelet, it hit me in the eye, and it more so just scared me than hurt me. We all have triggers and layers of fears way deeper than what is shown, and that's why I walked off stage to calm down and make sure myself, band, and crew, and the crowd all felt safe to continue. Now, I will say this, even though I think she worded this really well, she does not owe y'all an explanation. Y'all owe her an apology. I mean, not y'all collectively, just the one person. Obviously, this behavior really only concerns a small subset of people. But at the same time, what poor lady. That's all I ever want, is for shows to feel like a safe place for us all. I love you and appreciate all of the concern. Let's make the last 2 shows of the Heart First tour the best yet. I also think her point about just being more shaken than hurt is a really big one. Just because you did not hit an artist with something that you threw, you still probably are throwing them off in some way. Shortly thereafter, Billie Eilish actually weighed in on this phenomenon.
I've been getting hit on stage with things for like literally 6 years. I don't know why this is like new, but people just get excited, and it can be dangerous.
They're also not trying to hit
They're
the
never
person.
trying to hit.
So it can be dangerous is a very understanding way of putting it, but she does go on to say that she's actually infuriated when this happens, despite her being very reserved in her delivery.
But like, it's absolutely infuriating when you're up there.
They're
when
not
you're...
throwing like tomatoes and orange. They're not.
No, they're not. It's like
They're throwing phones to get.
I have like mixed feelings about it. Because when you're up there, it blows. But it's like, it's out of love, and they're just trying to give you something. They're like, take my, this.
I definitely understand where she's coming from, and I do love that she chooses to see the good in it. But also, stop throwing things at Billie Eilish. Oh my gosh. I have to say though, without a doubt, my favorite reaction from a singer was from Adele.
Have you noticed how people are like forgetting show etiquette at the moment and people are throwing on stage? Have you seen that? Dare you throw something at me and I'm kill you.
She's iconic, Loki.
Stop throwing things at the artist, but you can shoot things at people.
Don't throw anything at Adele on stage or she will shoot you in the face. With the t-shirt gun. YouTube, please don't demonetize me. Actually, wait, my videos aren't even monetized yet. This channel is so new. But yeah, clearly when you have some of the biggest artists in the world, Adele, Billie Eilish, Drake, going through this or even speaking out against it, it's a problem. And even though these responses have mostly been very understanding, some artists are not really on that timing. So this was another one from before the mania started, but after someone threw something at Steve Lacy on stage, he actually went back, took it from them, and then proceeded to yeet it. That is an action I can only describe as yeeting, if you will. And believe it or not, people actually had the audacity to be upset at him for this ? But I'm glad that he made a statement about it. In a now deleted Instagram post, he said, "I don't believe I owe anyone an apology. Maybe I could have reacted better? Sure, always. I'm a student of life, but I'm a real person with real feelings and real reaction. I'm not a product or a robot. I am human." And once again, I just want to highlight what I said at the beginning. Like, yes, there's definitely a level of scrutiny and criticism that we can have for celebrities. I would say even above that of an average person. But that's never, ever, ever going to invalidate their right to just being safe when they're up there trying to do their job and have a bit of fun. Another person who reacted with a bit more of a physical reaction was Cardi B. As you can see, somebody threw their drink at her and she was not having it at all. And I do have to say her throwing arm was quite magnificent. But yeah, whether an artist reacts, I guess, in a calm way or I guess a more aggressive way, which I can't blame them for any of these reactions, this is wrong. It's just still going to be wrong, point blank, period. And I guess I'm wrapping this up in the worst possible way by saying this is still happening. So like we have this article from a month ago from The Guardian where they're talking to people in the music industry and basically saying this is becoming normalized. For some reason, people think this is okay to do now. Obviously, I've given my reason for why I think this is the case. They want the attention that comes with it, the feeling special, even if it's in a bad way. But this is happening. Charlie Puth said, "Stop this disrespectful and dangerous behavior." Tyler, the Creator, said, "Stop throwing your stuff on stage." Kelly Clarkson told an audience they could only throw diamonds at her, which... Same, Kelly. And the reason I knew I had to make a video at some point was because as recently as just a couple days ago, I'm still seeing this happen. Somebody threw something at Beyonce. Did you see that? Look, it was kind of hard to see. It's in the very beginning. They throw some sort of sweater or something up at her. And I'm just like, why would you do that to Beyonce of all people? I'm not saying Beyonce's on some special pedestal, but it's more like Have you seen her fans? Do you think they were going to let you get away with that? And actually, in this video, they don't, because the person who threw it immediately gets confronted by people. And then this very morning, I saw a video from a couple days ago where people were throwing things at Nick Jonas, and he's like, stop. You can't really hear him, but he's just like, stop, very clearly. Now, I would sincerely hope that this video is like me preaching to the choir. Hopefully, nobody watching this has ever thrown something up on stage. And even if you are doing it from a place of admiration and support, or just a desire for someone to see something, stop. As far as I'm concerned, there's just no safe way to do this, so stop doing it. There are certainly other ways to express your admiration for somebody that you appreciate. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with a question because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and even though I just chose one singular thing to focus on, I've sort of noticed concert etiquette in general just going really downhill. But like, is that just me? I know it's not just me because I see other people talking about it. But I want you to tell me, have you had an experience at a concert that was just rude? Well, it doesn't even have to be throwing things. You notice people are just getting a bit stranger. Have you seen anything particularly good at a concert lately? I would honestly like to hear it at this point. But yeah, knock it off. You guys are weird. This isn't good. Okay, that's all.